special connection with each and every one of you in a unique way. To you, he was a hairstylist, a card companion, a business associate, a cousin, a golf partner, a confidant, a colleague, an uncle, a golf pal, a soulmate, a friend. We loved our dad so much, and although our time with him was cut short, we still have many hilarious stories of him, many beautiful memories shared, some of which we, his family, would like to share with you today.
Hi everyone, this is from Arzia in Italy. It's a recording of some things that she wanted to say. Bear with me while I try and figure out how to make this work.
Sono qui a scrivere 2 righe. Lettera a mio fratello. Sono qui a scrivere 2 righe, da sola, con gli occhi pieni di lacrime e il cuore gonfio di dolore. Voglio dedicare questo mio pensiero ed ogni mia preghiera a te, fratello Mauro. 3 piccole parole e 12 semplici lettere che dette con il cuore possono rimanere eterne. Ti voglio bene. La nostra storia inizia quando, all'età di 9 anni, per la prima volta ho avuto modo di conoscerti ed abbracciarti, perché fino ad allora sapevo solo della tua presenza e tutti mi parlavano di te, ma ti vedevo solo nella foto che mamma e papà avevano nella loro camera da letto, nella quale eri vestito da calciatore ed eri insieme alla tua squadra. Ero troppo piccola quando tu sei partito per il Canada, non potevo ricordare. In tutti quegli anni, il fatto di non averti accanto mi rendeva molto geloso e triste. I miei compagni giocavano, litigavano con i propri fratelli e sorelle, io invece no. Mi dovevo accontentare solo di una foto. Finalmente il momento di conoscerci è giunto. A 9 anni, per la prima volta, ti ho abbracciato in Canada, caro fratello mio. Quando ero lì con te, eri solito portarmi fuori per la città con un grande orgoglio. Quando andavamo al Little Italy, poi, notavo che tutti ti guardavano e si chiedevano chi fosse quella ragazza insieme a te. Tu, compiaciuto, mi presentavi con un sorriso ironico. Hey, she's my little sister from Italy. Da quel momento in poi ci siamo abbracciati tante altre volte, perché tu facevi in modo che ogni estate la trascorressimo insieme. Finalmente potevo parlare di te a tutti, anzi, non solo di te, ma anche della gioia che mi avevi dato rendendomi zia. Ero e sono ancora molto orgogliosa di tutto ciò. Nei miei giorni un po' tristi, spesso mi facevi sorridere, raccontandomi di quando tu, ancora con le torto, fiero, mi portavi in fasce sulla moto di papà, tra i tuoi amici. Ero la tua mascotte, era la mascotte dei voi grandi. Crescendo mi sono comunque accorta e resa conto di quanto ci somigliavamo, pur non essendo mai cresciuti insieme. Carattere molto forte, tenace, testardo, ma allo stesso tempo dolce e premuroso. Quante volte ce ne siamo detti di tutti i colori, non ci siamo parlati per giorni, poi però tutto finiva con un bacio, un abbraccio o un messaggio. Ci somigliavamo, perché determinati, volitivi, ma anche con un grande cuore. Peccato che il tuo cuore, che ha dato così tanto e amato così intensamente, si sia spento. Troppo presto per noi. Per me sei stato un padre, un fratello, un amico, eri la mia famiglia. Mi hai lasciato un vuoto che non potrò mai più colmare. La vita ci insegna che solo quando ci vengono a mancare gli affetti più stretti è allora che ci mancano davvero, quando non possiamo più vedere, abbracciare, parlare con i nostri cari. È allora che il nostro cuore è infranto e vuoto. È allora che la mente è sconvolta non sa dare spiegazioni. Quanto ci siamo voluti bene. Quando eravamo insieme era sempre una festa. Ti preparavo da mangiare ciò che ti piaceva di più. Ascoltavamo musica e ballavamo. Anche quando eri in Canada era la stessa cosa. Ti ricordi quando ti sei messo a suonare la fisarmonica e tutti insieme con i ragazzi abbiamo ballato a casa tua? Che festa! Sì, era proprio The Gallo's Family. Purtroppo la vita però ci ha fatto conoscere e attraversare anche momenti molto dolorosi, come la morte dei nostri genitori, ma insieme li abbiamo affrontati. Siamo stati due rocce insieme, siamo spesso caduti insieme, ma ci siamo anche sempre risollevati insieme. In questi giorni di dolore pensavo, che strano il destino. Io ho iniziato la vita lontano da te e la tua è finita lontano da me. Per fortuna ultimamente avevi deciso di trascorrere dei periodi un po' più lunghi con me e i tuoi nipoti. E ti avevo trovato anche un bel da fare a sistemare tutte quelle teste matte delle mie amiche. Le ascoltavi con pazienza, le accontentavo facendole sentire sempre molto belle. Avevo una parola speciale per ognuna di loro e anche per i loro figli. La tua scomparsa improvvisa ha destato grande sconcerto, ma il tuo ricordo resterà vivo nei loro cuori. Mi dispiace se a volte non sono riuscita a trovare le parole per dirti quello che pensavo o provavo. Mi dispiace soprattutto di non aver potuto lottare per trattenerti, così che niente al mondo potesse separarci. Sono molto triste e addolorata. Purtroppo non riesco a cancellare dalla mia mente la telefonata del 25 novembre. Quelle parole, scandite lentamente dal sapore amaro, hanno fermato il tempo e il mio respiro. Caro fratello, nella nostra ultima conversazione mi avevi detto che saresti tornato. Lo avevi promesso. Invece non potrò più riabbracciarti. Aspetto ancora un'altra telefonata, un messaggio, ma so che purtroppo da te non ne riceverò più. So che da quel numero non riceverò più niente. Ora per te solo lacrime amare. Lacrime amare. Quanto è ingiusta la vita. La domanda è sempre la stessa. Perché proprio lui? risposta che posso darmi è: pensiamo di essere in mezzo a un prato. Quali fiori raccogliamo? Quelli brutti o quelli belli? Sicuramente quelli belli. Quindi questa è l'unica risposta e spiegazione che mi posso dare ogni giorno. So che non vorresti vedermi piangere, ma non ci riesco. Fa male. Però sono anche sicura che mi guardi da lassù. Ma in questi giorni mi sento sola e abbandonata. Anche Emanuele mi ha detto di non piangere, perché tu mi avresti detto dal cielo cosa fare. Cercherò di ascoltarlo per vincere questo immenso dolore. Grazie, fratello mio, per aver avuto cura di me, per avermi reso più forte, per avermi sempre sostenuta e aiutata a rialzarmi, anche nei momenti più fragili della mia vita. Grazie per avermi aperto alla vita, dandomi fiducia e possibilità di fare esperienze nuove. Grazie per i tuoi consigli. Grazie di essere stato sempre presente nella mia vita. Sono sicura che tutte queste parole che non posso più dirti ti arriveranno. Ti voglio bene. Perdonami se non te lo dicevo spesso. Adesso come faccio a dirtelo se non ci sei più qui? Posso urlarlo fino a restare senza voce. Scriverlo ovunque. Ma non sarà la stessa cosa. Tu non risponderai. Darei qualsiasi cosa per vederti ancora un istante ed ascoltare la tua voce. So che la morte non è niente, non cancellerà mai quello che sei stato tu per me e quello che ero io per te. Sarai sempre nel mio cuore. Ti prego, anche da lassù, continua a parlarmi nello stesso modo in cui mi parlavi. Pensami e continua ad amarmi. So che non sei lontano, sei solo dall'altra parte, proprio dietro l'angolo insieme a mamma e papà. Cercherò di asciugare le mie lacrime e magari anche di non piangere più, ricordando il tuo meraviglioso sorriso e la tua gioia di vivere. Questo sicuramente mi darà pace. Con tutto il mio amore, Giovanni. Un forte abbraccio dai tuoi nipoti e da tutti quelli che ti hanno conosciuto. Saluto speciale da nostra cugina Maria e da tutti i tuoi amici di Colle Torto e dalla tua amata Sardegna.
I'm Debbie, one of Mauro's many friends. I'd like to read a poem by R. Tamner called Broken Chain. We little knew the day that God was going to call your name. In life, we loved you dearly. In death, we do the same. It broke our hearts to lose you, but you didn't go alone. For part of us went with you. The day God called you home. You left us peaceful memories. Your love is still our guide. And though we cannot see you, you are always at our side. Our family chain is broken, and nothing seems the same. But as God calls us one by one, the chain will link again. Mauro was favorite companion, amico, buddy, chum, confidant, mate, musketeer, pal. The true definition of a friend. He was a real friend where you could pick up where you left off, whether it be a week since you'd seen each other or years. Time and distance did nothing to diminish the bond we have with Mom. In the last few years, he split his time between Italy and Canada, and both countries were lucky to have him. He always spoke his mind and never refrained from telling you something you didn't want to hear. He made us laugh and cry, happy and sad. He just wanted us to live our lives to the fullest. When you find a friend like Mauro, it's like finding a coin in a birthday cake. Like finding a priceless gem. Like finding home. It gets better, it gets funnier. He left us too suddenly, too soon. But he left us good memories, and we will always see him when we look at his children. Mauro had a near-death experience during his open-heart surgery. He told his friend Karen he felt no fear of death. He said it was beautiful. The Bible assures us there is life after death, and in Corinthians 2:9, no eye has seen, no ear has heard, no mind has conceived what God has prepared for those who love him. I think Mauro got a heads up. He has friends everywhere. Ciao, ciao, Mauro. We miss you deeply, always think of you, and love you dearly. P.S. Since you're up there, could you watch over and protect us? Helps Juventus win every game for the next decade or two. You keep polar vortexes away from Winnipeg. Say a prayer for customer call center agents. Lotto Max winning numbers would be nice. And have a great time.
Full disclosure, I will not make this through this without crying. So, good morning, everyone. I'm Marco. I'm Mauro's best-looking daughter. Thank you all for coming today to celebrate Death Life with us. You would have been very proud to see everyone today. Today, my way of grieving is I like to make jokes. So today I'd like to share a few fun experiences in light of Dad's sociable disposition. Like this one time when I was living with him, I had a couple friends over, one who's here today. We were watching a baseball game. The three of us split a 12 of beer over the course of the evening, which is a while for those of you who watch baseball. After my friends left, I proceeded to rinse and stack the beers in a box so I could return them later because every penny counted during university. I was the first one up in the morning, so I was at the table when Dad came downstairs. Half asleep, he walks past the one box of tidy empty beers on the counter and says, "What's this? You guys drank like 1 billion beers last night." He could really make a joke out of anything. If any of you knew my dad, which I'm sure most of you did, he lived to negotiate. It's one word for it. I once saw him barter with a teenage sales clerk at Sobeys. You know, regular everyday stuff like that. One epic story that's been coming up all week is his infamous Home Depot barbecue story. So one day Dad decides he needs a barbecue, so he drives a few blocks to the Home Depot by his old place on Belleville. The salesperson in the outdoor section, who I'm sure was probably a 17-year-old, had no idea what they were in for. So So Dad spends the afternoon haggling, truly the entire afternoon, grinding this poor kid on price. He goes through a couple store managers, a shift change, in order to see how far he can push this thing. Eventually, after exhausting his opponent, they crack. I want to say he got them down 40 or 50% of the asking price. Finally, once Dad hears the guy say the now agreed on Mauro one-time sale price, he looks at him and says, "I'll take 2. He always wore his cleverness on his sleeve, except when he called me to celebrate his recent purchase and just needed help getting a barbecue from Home Depot. There was nothing much clever about that. Dad never settled. That helped define the strong man he was. The last story I want to share with you guys, it only came out, I didn't hear it until he passed away from Isaiah. When Dad set his mind to something, he did it. 100%, nothing less. So when he was about 7, one day he refused to go to church. He demanded that he get a suit just like Dad had. Nono told him that they can't afford it, and that was that. Little Mauro said he wasn't going to church, to which Nono said, "Fine." Off to church went Nona, and left Dad at home to teach him a lesson. Later that morning during Mass, guess who walks into church wearing a brand new suit? 7-year-old Mauro. Legend has it, he knew where the tailor lived, so he went down the street, knocked on his door. He explained that he needed a suit in a hurry, and that his parents would come square up with the tailor later. Dad got his suit that day. He just had to do it his own way. Throughout the last week, I've been doing a lot of soul searching. My relationship with my dad is complicated at times, but with each passing day, I'm realizing more and more that I was lucky to even have one. When someone is abruptly taken from you, it can leave a void that can never be filled. Dad would have hated that sentence. Like myself, I encourage each one of you here to be a witness to those important moments in your life with your loved ones. Share with those around you the joy you're experiencing in real time. Whenever I did see my dad, he was always present. Looking forward, he always will be.
There are so many things our dad will be remembered for. As a no-no, he'll be remembered for giving the best haircuts, for providing our kids with an endless supply of gummies, for playing soccer in the yard with them, and for making the only sauce that they'll all eat. As a dad, we'll remember going to Grand Beach as kids on the weekends, loving the visits to his hair salon and seeing him in his element, the trips to Italy, him leading us around the dance floor, his little Alfa Romeo, showing up at my door with an insane amount of frozen French fries he just won during a game of cards. For the delicious feasts he'd make for our whole family, including his signature peppers. There are too many memories to mention, but there are a few qualities we'd like to share with you today. Our dad was protective. When Eric was about 4, Debbie and Dad were replacing flooring, and their place was a total construction zone. Furniture stacked everywhere, floorboards peeled up with nails sticking out. While Dad and Debbie were in the middle of moving a heavy couch, little Eric decides to walk towards this dangerous area with the floorboards. My dad got scared and yelled and booted Eric on the bum to get him away from the boards. Eric turned around with his little hands on his hips and said, "Papa, I'm not a soccer ball, I'm Eric." He loved that story. Our dad was popular. He would have greeted all of you with a, "Hello, my friends." He knew everyone. We could hardly go anywhere without running into someone he knew. After we'd walk away from them, he'd say, "See, I know everyone," and laugh. He seemed to have a connection for anything anyone ever needed. We liked to call these our "I know a guy" dad stories. Need winter tires? I know a guy. Need a haul for a wedding social? I know a guy. Need airline tickets? I know a guy. Need the best focaccia? I know a guy. And he's here today. And he'd pull out his phone and start scrolling through and find a number to give us.
Even during this terrible week, our dad has still had a few I know a guy moments. Connections that have made this time a little bit more bearable. His circle of friends was incredible. Some of you have been friends with our dad for over 40 years. We know to our dad, his friends were part of his Canadian family. So thank you for loving him and taking him into your homes and your hearts. Our dad was talented. He was an incredible hairstylist, a self-taught accordion player, a superb cook, and he seemed to be able to build anything out of anything, even if it wasn't the prettiest. However, some of you may not know that our dad could also sew. A few years ago, he made a beautiful tablecloth, complete with fabric napkins for a family dinner we were having while Jordana and the kids were visiting, just because he was so excited to have all of us together. We are so sad to not be able to have more of those family dinners this Christmas time. He was so looking forward to that. Our dad was endearing. One of the things that made him so lovable was his accent and the fact that he'd constantly be messing up the pronunciation of spelling of English words. We'd laugh till we cried about some of these mistakes, and he'd laugh along with us. And then he'd get serious and say, you know, you shouldn't laugh at me. English isn't my first language. And we'd all laugh even harder because he'd already been here for 30 years. Some of our favorites are him calling Shania Twain Schwana Kane, calling a video, and getting so heated when we didn't know who Volvoline was. We had spiked Eric's hair all funny, and he kept saying, Eric looks exactly like Volvoline. Dad kept making these weird hand gestures and going like this, and we didn't know what he was saying. Eventually he said, you know, X-Men. And we all said, oh, Wolverine. To which he replied, yes, that's exactly what I said, Volvoline. A few years ago, us girls used our dad's car for an afternoon and found a shopping list. There were some spelling errors, but all being teachers, we were able to read what the list said, except for one item. It said, Toth, space, broche, space, older. We said it over and over again, trying to figure out its meaning, using different inflections like the craziest game of real-life Mad Gab. Eventually realizing that Toth, broche, older was toothbrush holder. We still talk about that list, and we'll miss hearing those little mistakes, those little endearing mistakes, and the sound of our dad's voice. Our dad was a softie. Despite his sometimes rough and intimidating exterior, he was a softie. He'd call us sweetheart and say love you at the end of every phone conversation. He loved to talk about how we'd play with his arm hair to fall asleep when we were little. And I'd still catch myself playing with his arm hair automatically if I'd be sitting beside him. I love how he talked about how our kids reminded him of us when we were little, when they'd say something cute or do something funny. I loved that he took the time to cook with my kids since he's been back. That's a memory they'll always have. He was so proud of his kids and grandchildren, and each of us could feel that love and pride. When Eric was little, our dad would say, Eric, how much do you love Papa? And Eric would answer, much. It was so cute, and Dad would make Eric do it every chance he would get. Well, the answer to that question is still, how much do we love our dad? Much. We love him immensely, and we'll miss him always for all of these reasons and so many more.
I'm Jordana. I'm Mauro's oldest daughter. Our dad could light up any room he walked into with his charisma and passion for life. He was a handsome and engaging man to everyone that met him. So handsome, in fact, he was often mistaken for Sean Connery, something he really delighted in. He even had a 007 ringtone on his phone to make sure we never forgot that.
He lived his life to the fullest and truly enjoyed every moment. Whether he would burst out into song in his Italian opera voice or laugh while playing accordion and dancing. He also really loved to enjoy his Grand Marnier. He once showed up at the door to a family gathering and told us that he had brought his new girlfriend to our dinner, which surprised us all because we didn't know about a new girlfriend. But then with a silly grin on his face, he pulled out a bottle of Grand Marnier from underneath his jacket and told us that was his girlfriend for the night. We'll always laugh and remember that story. Our dad was adventurous and experienced life in so many different ways. He had an unforgettable personality, and his stories and memories will live on. You always knew where you stood with Mauro. When he was angry, you knew it. When he was sad, you knew it. But when he was happy, you really knew it, and you felt that. With all of the challenges and ups and downs that come with being a family, and no matter where our roads would take us, each one of us had a unique relationship and something special with our dad. Each one of us has certain characteristics from Dad that will live on even though he's gone. Marco's love of building and creating things. Eric's passion for soccer and Juventus and his intensity for what he believes in. Gabriella's strong will and love of Italy. The way Giancarlo wears her heart on her sleeve and loves hard just the way Dad did. And for me, the way that I can talk my way into any situation or out of any situation, just like my dad. Our dad will always be a part of us, and we will deeply miss him, and we'll all forever have him in our hearts. I want to end this with 3 words that I think are fitting for how our dad lived his life. Veni, vidi, amavi. We came, we saw, we loved. Ti vogliamo bene, Papa.
Please stand. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, the Lord be with you.